This video is sponsored by nobody. Nobody sponsors these videos, unfortunately. At least not yet. Anybody that wants me to do a paid promotion for their videos, go ahead and hit me up. Call me anytime. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I am here to talk about is what I usually do at the end of the videos. You see, we are about a little over 40 people away from hitting 4,000 subscribers, which is pretty good for our channel, considering that we've been on this slow grow over the last couple of years. But it's a step in the right direction. But if you do really like these videos and you want to see more of them, any of these videos on our channel in particular, please go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notification button. And also do the same thing over on our other channel, the Reviewing Network Live, which is also slowly growing as time goes on. Do the same thing over there. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button if you can. So just wanted to get that out of the way since we're that close to 4,000. We're currently at 3,959 as of the day I'm recording this, which is September 10th, at about near 11 o'clock at night. So please, like I said, like, subscribe, hit the notification button if you want to see more videos, and also give this video a thumbs up if you want to. So, with that said, on with the show. It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films of June 24th, 2005. A lot of good movies on this show. Movies that you would not think would be good, but are surprisingly enjoyable. We've got a TV adaptation that's not what you think it is, with Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. Herbie is back, Herbie the Love Bug, in a new movie, which is, you might be surprised by how I feel about this, because I feel a whole lot different than I did a couple weeks ago when I talked about what this director did before this movie, but we'll get to that a little bit. We'll also delve into George A. Romero's return to the genre that he created, the zombie genre, with the latest film of his Of the Dead series, as well as the documentary that took everybody by storm. Like, nobody expected this movie about Morgan Freeman narrating the life of penguins to become the hit that it was, but we got a lot of movies to get to here, so let's just go ahead and jump right into the first film we have here, the biggest new release of the weekend, Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell starring in Nora Ephron's remake of Bewitched.
Just when his career
Sherpa!
hit an all-time low, movie star Jack Wyatt is getting one last shot.
We're going to do a television series, and it's going to be a big hit.
A couple of big names are available for Samantha. I want an unknown in the lead. So, should be fun, huh?
Now, after weeks of searching,
Good.
he's found the perfect witch.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
How would you like to be on a television show?
An actress?
Yeah. If I can act, you can act.
Amen.
You know what? I think those people over there just finished their plate of hummus.
But he has no idea just how perfect
But you are a witch.
she really is.
I am through with just snapping my fingers and getting my way.
No breakfast after 11.
My absolutely last thing.
I need you. Be my TV wife.
Yes.
Yes! Bewitched is being retooled. So it's about me.
He tricked me. He said he needed me. He doesn't understand who he's dealing with.
The line is, it's my dog. It's my dog. I want him back. Action! Where art thou, dog?
What's happening?
Well, if it isn't
My spellcasting magical daughter who gave up witchcraft.
Oh my god. Where's my dog?
I was provoked.
You shall lick my face and I shall lick your snout.
Hang on.
She's a witch.
Shoo!
She flies on a broomstick. She can cast spells on things. How does this work? Am I gonna get web feet or grow horns?
Huh?
Am I gonna get pregnant? Because I cannot get pregnant right now.
Bewitched.
I'm Darren. They replaced Darren on the original Bewitched, and no one noticed. I'm Darren. How did this happen?
I should rephrase that, because this is not a remake of Bewitched. This isn't like The Honeymooners, where it's just a straightforward adaptation of the television series, but That's what actually kind of makes it stand out on its own. But here's the story here. Out in California's San Fernando Valley, Isabel, played by Nicole Kidman, is trying to reinvent herself. A naive, good-natured witch, she is determined to disavow her supernatural powers and lead a normal life. At the same time, across town, Jack Wyatt, played by Will Ferrell, a tall, charming actor, is trying to get his career back on track. He sets his sights on an updated version of the beloved situation comedy Bewitched, we conceived as a starring vehicle for him in the role of the mere mortal Darren. Fate steps in when Jack accidentally runs into Isabel. He is immediately attached to her and her nose, which bears an uncanny resemblance to the nose of Elizabeth Montgomery, who played Samantha on Bewitched. He becomes convinced she could play Samantha in the new series. However, Isabel is also taken with Jack as well, seeing him as the quintessential mortal man with whom she can settle down with, and lead the normal life she so desires. And it turns out they're both right, but in ways neither of them could ever imagine. Now, what makes this movie so unique is that it's not a straightforward adaptation of the TV series. It's a movie that has some of the feels of the original series, but in a story that feels very fresh and different compared to most TV adaptations. Like, this is a movie not about the making of not about Bewitched itself, but the making of a Bewitched TV show in which the actress who's playing Samantha is a real witch, and you find out in the movie that Bewitched is forbidden by witches for obvious reasons. But this movie got thrashed by critics. Like, it was really panned by critics when it came out. It was a film that, according to Rotten Tomatoes, called it a film that's haunted by scattered laughs and a lack of direction. The New York Times called it an unmitigated disaster. Australian critics gave it 3.5. Actually, that's a positive review right there. I'm reading off Wikipedia, as you can tell. The film also was not seen as a big hit either. It was seen as a flop at the box office, even though it did make back its $85 million budget, making $130 million worldwide, but it didn't meet the expectations that Sony Pictures had in mind, and especially with the cast that includes Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell, not to mention the star power of Shirley MacLaine, Michael Caine, Jason Schwartzman, Kristen Chenoweth, who actually made her film debut in this movie. I love Kristen Chenoweth, from Wicked, everything that she's in, even if it's a bad movie, I'm there because of her, because of that singing voice, and just, she's just such a fun, entertaining person I see in a lot of things, and just, this is her film debut. Heather Burns from Miss Congeniality, Stephen Colbert is in here, David Alan Grier, Michael Badalucco, Steve Carell playing Paul Lynde in this movie, which is really funny. The movie really is a lot better than I think people let on. It's a film that I think is so much better than people give it credit for. It's a clever idea. We're not going to remake Bewitched. We're going to make a movie about the making of a Bewitched reboot, but instead of having them doing the same plot from the series, we're going to have a movie where the witch actually is a real witch. And I think that's a funny, clever idea. And it has a lot of great elements to it. Does every joke work? No. The one thing everyone takes away from this movie, the joke that everyone is like, here's the groaner right here, when Nicole Kidman tells them, guess what, I'm a witch, and Will Ferrell's just like, well, guess what, I'm a Clippers fan, which leads to one of Family Guy's most hilarious scenes, where Stewie basically spends about almost 5 minutes going from Boston to California to do nothing but punch Will Ferrell and tell him that's not funny. And I'm saying it here because, why should I even say it? I'll just let the clip play for herself.
Guess what? I'm a witch.
Guess what? I'm a Clippers fan.
Mm-hmm.
All ticketed passengers for flight 2378 to Reno, Nevada. At the gate.
Announcing the arrival of flight 142 from Atlanta.
Hello? That's not funny!
I mean, yeah, that's the best example of Family Guy stretching something out to lead to a payoff that leads to a very funny moment. The fact that Stewie goes all the way from Quahog all the way to California, pays for an airplane ticket, has someone orders limo service, goes to a hardware store, picks up a ladder, somehow just easily walks into Will Ferrell's home, knocks on the door, punches him, and says, "That's not funny." It's just like, my mission's accomplished, I'm gone. Like, that's funnier than the actual joke itself. Not every joke in the movie works, but I really like this movie a lot, and I like it because of the clever idea of how to do this as a movie. It's not remaking the TV series again. It's not pulling a Honeymooners. It's not pulling a Dukes of Hazzard, which we'll get to in a little bit, in a couple of weeks from now. But it's a movie that really does feel like it's trying to do something new and different. Nora Ephron is a great director. We've seen her. We've talked about her works before. Very rarely does she miss as a director. She's made a couple of movies that weren't great. Stuff like This Is My Life, Mixed Nuts, Lucky Numbers. But this is the woman that made Sleepless in Seattle. This is the woman that made You Got Mail. She made Julie and Julia. She wrote stuff like Silkwood, When Harry Met Sally. The work speaks for herself, and she's putting her all into it. She's not just doing this because, we need a big name director here, and we can get Nora Ephron because she's a big name director. No, she's actually putting her all into this, trying to give us something new and different, and it works. I think it's very funny. I think it's very clever. I think it's a very interesting way to do a movie like this. Like, it's not a straightforward remake of the television series. It's a film that's trying to do something very different, very very much stands out compared to the original series, and I think it works for the most part. Not every joke works. It does have that moment where we have to have the whole third act breakup type of thing, which does get stale really, really fast, but I really like this movie a lot. Everybody gives it a bad rap because it was a flop back then. Most people thought that Will Ferrell's career was pretty much dead and done for with this, but Will Ferrell had 2 really good movies in 2005 that people don't really give the proper credit. 3 movies, the more I think about it. Melinda and Melinda is a great film. We talked about Kicking and Screaming not too long ago, which is a really good movie. And this is a really fun film, too. It's probably the lesser of the 3 films I mentioned, but it's still a really good movie. It's still a fun film. It's a fun idea. It's a great idea, taking this concept and not just doing the same thing we've seen done to death so many times in movies, in shows. It's like we just saw with the Honeymoons. It's something completely different. It's trying to do something that's not just a remake of the TV show, and I think it works because of that. I like the risk that it takes. It didn't work for everybody, but I do hope that this film has gone on to have some kind of cult following to it, and it kind of has, because you see it every once in a while on, Freeform's 31 Nights of Halloween. I've seen it the last couple of years on there, which hopefully that means this is getting more of a rapport with people, and it is becoming that movie that everyone realizes that, hey, this movie actually isn't as bad as people are making it out to be. And I hope I can get that message across to you too, because it is a really good movie. It's a fun film. You do get a lot of good laughs in here. Not every joke works. Not everything about the film works in general. I like the chemistry between Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman. I think Michael Caine's very fun in here. Shirley MacLaine has a nice role in here. It's got a strong cast overall to make it work, and the great writing of Nora Ephron. It's a really good movie. One that I do recommend checking out. It's one that definitely deserves a reappraisal, and I hope my review for it gives you a sense that you should give it another shot, because it is indeed worth the watch. I highly recommend it, Bewitched. So with that said, let's move on to the next movie we have here, and that is Herbie Fully Loaded, starring Lindsay Lohan, and the return of the famous Herbie the Love Bug.
There is a legend with mysterious powers and a magical past. And when a family's in trouble,
I'm totally fine.
Yes, that means not totally fine.
the one person who needs him most
I didn't know that you took out another mortgage on the house.
is about to unlock his secret.
Please take care of Herbie. Whatever your problem, we'll help you find the answer. Great. Fortune cookie on wheels.
On June 24th,
What's going on?
Herbie's magic will be unleashed on the world.
Let's get more horsepower than I expected.
He's stronger.
I'm gonna wipe that bum off my windshield!
faster.
Let's race.
Come on, Herbie.
He's Herbier.
Herbie.
And it's all good under the hood.
This car just winked at me. You feeling okay?
From Walt Disney Pictures, to save her family,
You're not getting behind the wheel of that car.
Dad, I'm a Peyton. Racing is in my blood.
two unlikely partners
Can you do this thing?
are gonna make the whole world believe. Lindsay Lohan,
It's like we're connected or something.
Herbie is a car.
with Matt Dillon,
Let's see what makes you tick. What's happening now? There's nothing ordinary about this bug.
and Michael Keaton.
Hi, Maggie, I want you to guess.
And introducing the tricked out, ramped up, and all-new Herbie.
That car is alive! It's mocking me! Look! It's doing it again!
Herbie, fully loaded.
First of all, that title, did you not think that people are going to look at that title and, just say that you set yourself up for jokes of how bad it ends up being? I've seen jokes with this title. Everyone says like Herbie fully loaded. Well, I'm sure it's fully loaded with something. And of course, maybe one of the few Mind the Mencia jokes that actually made me laugh out loud was when they had the trailer announcer guy going on there talking about Herbie fully loaded. It's fully loaded with shit. And it's got kind of that bad reputation as far as critics go. But when you look back on it, it actually didn't get bad reviews in general. And in fact, when you know people who like the Herbie movies in general, most of them are very positive about the movie in general. And the film was a success, so it wasn't a flop by any means necessary. But for most people, it was a film that everyone kind of said that most people back then, like, most people thought it wasn't that good of a movie. But honestly, it's interesting because I went back to watch this movie again not too long ago to get ready for this. And, I liked it when I first saw it, but as time went on, I kind of forgotten about it. But honestly, you might be kind of surprised what I have to say about it, because it actually isn't that bad of a film. So in the film, you have Lindsay Lohan playing Maggie Peyton, who's the new owner of number 53, the free-wielding Volkswagen Bug with a mind of its own. That is, of course, Herbie. She puts the car through its paces on the road to become a NASCAR competitor. As a third-generation member of a NASCAR family, racing is in Maggie Peyton's blood, but her overprotective father, played by Michael Keaton, forbids her to pursue her dream. When Ray Sr. offers Maggie a car as the college graduation present, he takes her to a junkyard to choose one from an assortment of very used cars. Maggie has her eyes on an old Nissan, but a certain rusty, banged-up 63 Volkswagen Bug seems to be clamoring for her attention. To her surprise, Maggie leaves the lot with Herbie. As she prepares to leave town for a position with ESPN News, Maggie discovers that Herbie has a mind of his own, and an alternative route for her future. And for Lindsay Lohan, kind of like with Will Ferrell in Bewitched, some people thought that this was going to be the end of the road for Lindsay Lohan's career because, she was in Freaky Friday, she was in Mean Girls, everyone thought she was going to be the next big superstar. Then this movie comes out and doesn't really perform as well as they expected it to, and then it kind of led to Lindsay Lohan's downfall a little bit with stuff like Just My Luck, and then the infamous I Know Who Killed Me, which we'll get to in as the time goes on. Watching this movie again, I have to be honest with you, I found a lot more to like about this movie than I did that I didn't like about it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a Herbie movie. The Herbie movies are silly, stupid, but fun. That's the magic of those Herbie movies, is that they're ridiculous. They're classic Disney live-action movies that aren't trying to have like this big message behind them. It's not trying to be this movie where it's supposed to be like a deep emotional ride, but you feel for Herbie the Love Bug when you watch those movies, though. That's the beauty of this movie. This car does not talk, but at the same time, it's got a mind of its own, and it works because, like, you feel invested in the character so much because he just has that personality to him. It's like when you watch Wallace and Gromit or Shaun the Sheep, those Aardman shows, shorts and movies where the characters don't talk, but because they're not talking, you still get a sense of. You still get more enjoyment out of them because they have a mind of their own when they don't have to open their mouths. And Herbie is a perfect example of that. Can be in that category as well. This was directed by Angela Robinson. We already talked about one of her movies earlier in the year with Debs, which was a film I didn't really like, but this is probably her overall best film as a director. And she also did a Wonder Woman movie that came out around the same time as Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot, which was a movie about the creator of Wonder Woman and this threesome relationship he kind of has, which it's a weird movie in general. But this is like I said, it's overall her best movie. Plus, she also got a script by Tom Lennon and Robert Ben Garant from Reno 911, and Alfred Gould and Miles Millar, who have written a lot of great stuff. Smallville, they just recently wrote Beetlejuice. I mean, they've written a lot of stuff that you've seen before. There's good writers involved in here, and they all understand what they're trying to do here. They're not trying to make a deep, thought-provoking movie about Herbie, the love bug. Like, they know the Herbie movies are silly, guilty pleasure fun. And this is a silly, guilty pleasure fun movie. Not everything about it works. As you see in the trailer there's CG shots with Herbie that feel very, very out of place. I'm not even going to lie to you. When I saw that again in the trailer, it was just like, man, that does not look like it aged well at all. And it does not age well at all in the film. But again, kind of like with Bewitched, they have a strong cast that can make it work. Lindsay Lohan is good in the movie. You know, Matt Dillon is a fun character in this film. Michael Keaton is very good. You know, what can you say about him? Justin Long, Breckin Meyer, Cheryl Hines, Tom Lennon, Jimmy Simpson, Jill Ritchie. A lot of good talent is involved in this movie in general, and the film overall does exactly what it promises. For kids, they're going to love the hell out of this. And for people that grew up with the original Herbie movies, you can still find a lot to admire about the films in general. I personally didn't grow up with the Herbie movies, but I get why the character has longevity to him. I get why people still have this soft spot for him. They even tried to redo Herbie in the 90s with Bruce Campbell in it, which did not end up doing well whatsoever. It was a one-off TV movie, and then it never went anywhere. But, I mean, the movie actually is decent. I'm not going to say it's a great movie per se, but it's a fun, decent movie that knows exactly who it's trying to be tailored to. It's not trying to do anything crazy or do anything like unique and different, like most of the other it's like the other Herbie movies. It's like a silly, fun film that's not trying to be anything smart or anything too ingenious. It just wants you to go in, turn your brain off, have a good time. It's good, harmless fun. And it does work on that level. Not everything about it works. The jokes can be kind of lame. The comedy doesn't really work that well sometimes. But I like the film a lot. I think it is a decently made, fun film in general. If you go into it with the right mindset. I was really surprised at how much I kind of enjoyed this movie again after not seeing it for nearly 20 years. But, yeah, I thought it was fun. It's a fun movie. Not a great film. Not anything too grand, epic or spectacular, but a good fun time. If you go into it with the right mindset, you can have a good time with it. If you like the other Herbie movies, you're going to find a lot to admire about Herbie Fully Loaded, honestly. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Herbie Fully Loaded. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, and that is George A. Romero's return to the genre that he created, the zombie genre, as he presents the latest installment of the Dead series. This is George A. Romero's Land of the Dead.
Coming to get you, Barbara. The unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
We don't know how many of them there are.
Do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
We don't really know.
Toward the city.
There's nothing there, man.
They're communicating. They're thinking.
George A. Romero's Land of the Dead.
Zombies, man. You creep me out.
They're everywhere, man. Like, I'm sorry, Dennis Hopper looks like he's high off his ass when he says that line. That's one of those lines I always remember from the end of the trailer. I'm thinking to myself, what kind of shrooms are you smoking there, Dennis? But fun fact, Big Daddy Zombie there, Eugene Clark, he's actually shown up at Steel City Con a couple of times over the last couple of years, and he's always been like at various tables, and he was actually in our row this last show, which I don't know if he's going to be there this time around in that row this time around. But he's always at the Comic Cons, and he seems like a cool dude. But he's always wearing that makeup all the time, and he's always like, it's like people whenever they want a picture, he'll like what he did this time. He'll be screaming out loud like he's actually in the movie. Like, you know, we'll just be talking to customers, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, "Rah!" Like, we're wondering where's that coming from, and it's just like, that's Eugene Clark over there. And I mean, I've never really gotten a chance to talk to him, but seems like a cool dude. But I just wanted to bring that up because I always see that guy at the Comic Cons. What that I do here, but back to the subject at hand, Land of the Dead. This is the fourth of George A. Romero's 6 Living Dead movies, of course, following Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. And in this movie, it deals with a zombie assault on Pittsburgh, of course, where a feudal-like government exists. The survivors in the film have fled to the Golden Triangle area of downtown. The region is protected on 2 sides of the river and on the third by an electric barricade that survivors term the Throat. And, look, nothing's really ever going to top what Dawn of the Dead did. I think Dawn of the Dead is the central zombie movie from this series. Like, Night of the Living Dead is great. Day of the Dead is a good follow-up to Dawn of the Dead, but nothing will ever top what George A. Romero did with the original Dawn of the Dead. Although Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead was pretty good. And I got the feeling that this movie was made because of George A. Romero's initial dislike of the Zack Snyder remake. Because if I remember right, he did not like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake. Yeah, he was not an initial fan of the movie when it came out, which I think this was kind of his answer to that. It's like, okay, if Zack Snyder's gonna remake my movie, I'm just gonna go ahead and make another one. And yeah, definitely not as good as Dawn of the Dead, but still a really good movie. It's got that atmospheric tone you expect from a movie like this. The zombie work, well done. The zombies are really cool to see. A good cast that includes Simon Baker, Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo, Asia Argento. And it's just a really cool-looking film. And it's really amazing how the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead led to this movie getting made, because it shows that George A. Romero still had it. Like, he still has what it takes to make a great zombie movie in general. And then he kind of ruined it with Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, which were not great, which were definitely the weakest of the Dead movies. It felt like he was really latching himself onto this so long that it got to the point where it just felt like, okay, you're really stepping over your boundaries here. It's kind of like with Ridley Scott with Prometheus and Alien Covenant. It's just like, we get it. You made some of the most influential movies of our time, but you trying to go back to it, and we expect so much bit more from you instead of just going back and just retracing your steps again. But this movie did not feel like that at all. Land of the Dead is a very cool, gritty-looking film that takes this movie back to what George A. Romero wanted to do with the original zombie movies in general. Like, it's a movie where you feel the atmosphere, you feel the tension, you feel all the effort being put in here, from the visuals, the style of the film, the casting, the zombies alone. It's just a really fun film in general. It's a really great movie, very atmospheric, very, very well made. It's everything you could ask for in a good George A. Romero zombie movie. Like I said, not as good as Dawn of the Dead, but that's a hard hill to top. And this movie would have been needed to be downright near perfect in order to do that. And it doesn't do that, but it's still a really fun film. I do recommend it a lot. Land of the Dead is a great film. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, which is Morgan Freeman narrating the story of The March of the Penguins.
There is a mysterious ritual that dates back thousands of years. No living creature has survived it, except the penguin. They have wings, but cannot fly. They're birds that think they're fish. And every year, they embark on a nearly impossible journey to find a mate.
Just how the hell did this movie become the hit that it was? Because it's funny, because the year before, this same weekend, we had Fahrenheit 9/11, which went on to become the most successful documentary film ever made. This movie was the second highest highly successful one, only behind that movie, making $77 million. A movie that is nothing but watching these penguins, with the voice of Morgan Freeman in the background telling you all about them. This is a documentary about the yearly journey of the emperor penguins of Antarctica. In autumn, all the penguins of breeding age, 5 years older or over, leave the ocean, which is their normal habitat, to walk inland to their ancestral burial grounds. There, the penguins participate in a courtship that, if successful, results in the hatching of a chick. For the chick to survive, both parents must make multiple arduous journeys between the oceans and the breeding grounds over the ensuing months. And of course, you have Morgan Freeman doing the narration for it. I don't know why this movie was a success, but it works. It's a movie that I think I figured it out. I think this movie succeeded because it's an idea that does not feel like a film that should be a massive commercial success, but it's very simplistic, and a voice like Morgan Freeman's is able to narrating the story and keeping the audience in check of what's going on here. It really helps the film overall. It really does carry the film to this level where this movie becomes so much more than you could have possibly imagined. Like, when I saw this for the first time, I had no idea what I was going into here. I just heard that it was a massive success, and I really didn't know how to feel about it. But as time has gone on, the genius of this movie is that it's a very simplistic story told by one of the greatest actors of all time. And you like it because you like these penguins. You can tell that they're really there. This isn't a film that's just using CG penguins or anything. This feels like it's really happening, and it feels like and it's a story that feels like you really like. It really does keep you. It captivates you. It keeps you invested in what's going on here, and it's just an intriguing film. A film that I had no intentions on believing it would ever work, and yet somehow it did. It went on to become a massive success, led to all these different penguin movies coming out. Like, there was a literal 2-year stretch where we had like 6 different movies with penguins involved in it, to the point where even in the Simpsons movie, they had to make fun of the penguin trend with Grand Theft Walrus, where you have this walrus in this Grand Theft Auto world, and this penguin's tap dancing, and all of a sudden, then the walrus brings out a shot, an AK-47, shoots the penguin through the glass, and like, that was a fun little answer to what was going on there, because we had so many different penguin movies. Like, there was Madagascar, which we talked about, Happy Feet, Surf's Up, the spoof Farce of the Penguins, directed by Bob Saget. I mean, there were so many different penguin movies coming out of that time. It's just like we for some reason just wanted to see more penguins on screen because of what March of the Penguins did. Then again, Happy Feet also probably played a huge part in it too, but yeah, overall, it's a great movie. It's a really good documentary that really does keep you invested in something that should not be as engaging as it is, but it's one of those lightning in a bottle moments, man. Like, it's one of those things where, yeah, it's going to happen once, but then when you try to copy it, it's not going to have that same effect. I know Disney Nature was essentially created because of how successful this movie was, and a lot of those Disney Nature documentaries are fine, but they don't have the lasting appeal of something like March of the Penguins does. Like, there's just that spontaneity about it, just that lightning in a bottle moment that's going to be really hard to really top. And I don't think any documentary of this caliber has been able to do that since then, honestly. But yeah, it's a really good film. It's a film that I would say, yeah, it looks like a standard Penguin documentary, but because of what Morgan Freeman brings to it and what they're doing in terms of creating a story around it, it just keeps you invested in it, and it becomes that movie that is indeed well worth the watch. It's a film that is really engaging, really interesting on a number of different levels. It's a movie that really surprised me on how good it really was. So, yeah, and people bought into it, and I can see why. So definitely check it out, March of the Penguins. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we will head into the middle of 2005. We're moving along here with 2 movies in particular, Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise reuniting for the first time since Minority Report with War of the Worlds. We also have Martin Lawrence in the basketball sports comedy for kids, Rebound, So we'll take a look at both of those movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. As I said in the beginning, we're closing in on 4,000 subscribers, and I would really like it if you did like this and want to see more videos like this. Like button, subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to check out the playlist on the next page as well as the previous episode we did. So, with that said, I'm off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care.